I'm a teenage suicide survivor at 12 years old. And I'm so grateful to be here. No one talked to me about it. No one talked to my parents about it. It was just brushed under the rug. I went back to school after a week and was that awkward kid walking through the hallways where people whisper about you.
The Big Silence, empowering personal experiences, inspiring compassion, and healing lives. We are no longer silent. We are here.
The Big Silence. The Big Silence.
Welcome to the Big Silence podcast, Andra Liemandt.
Oh, thank you. This is a dream. I love it. I love what you're about. I love everything you do. And it's great to be in person with you.
I know. I always love it when people come in person. That's what I prefer. But, not everyone's in Austin all the time. So happy you're here locally. And so we first met at your gala.
Yes. Yeah.
Last April.
Yeah. It feels like it was yesterday for me, but yes.
Yes. So you're the, and shout out to Jen Byrne, our friend.
I
She's
know.
amazing.
Such
and she
a
connected us.
connector.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you're the founder and CEO of the Kindness Campaign. Can you explain a little bit more about that?
Yes. Well, the Kindness Campaign, it's now going on 10 years, and I cannot believe it. Started really at my kitchen table with my two daughters. And it started because a dear friend of mine's daughter died by suicide, and she was very young. She was around 12 years old. And I was seeking a way to really have a dialogue with my children. They were very, very young, about, I don't know, second, fourth grade, maybe a little younger than that. But yeah, they were very young and, looking for ways to communicate about a topic that's heartbreaking. I was also very scared, looking for a way to, think about my own life, even realizing that children were suffering in that way was news to me. And so I just looked for ways to have conversations with my kids. And we created a little character named a Nuffy Buddy.
Mm-hmm.
And in doing that, these little stuffies that they were really excited about, I would say was kind of the birthplace of the Kindness Campaign and these journals, that the very first journal, and the idea of being enough. I wanted my girls, as
It's
they,
okay. I know it gets emotional.
yeah,
And
as they went off to school every day, to know that they were enough. And I think there were very real feelings of myself as a mom, not feeling like I was enough every day. And I thought, geez, if I have these emotions, I can't imagine what they're going through. I can't imagine what this little girl was going through to take such big steps in her life,
Mhm.
and the pain that her mom was going through. I think it was such a hard time. And to say 10 years later, what I've created with a vast array of emotional health tools, programming that's not just local here in Austin, not just in my daughter's classrooms, but reaching uh, hundreds of thousands of students, parents, teachers, is I sometimes wake up and think, wow, wait, what am I doing?
Yeah.
It's quite astounding.
If you're not watching this on YouTube, you don't see the tears in Andra's eyes, but you see the passion, and yet the hurt, the I would say the joy, the sadness, the ability to what you're doing. I don't know if you know this, but I'm a teenage suicide survivor at 12 years old. And I'm so grateful to be here. And no one talked to me about it. This is in the 90s, right? Like, no one talked to me about it, guided me through it. It was just, no one talked to my parents about it. It was just brushed under the rug. Went back to school after a week and was that awkward kid walking through the hallways where people whisper about you. So the work that you do is so important.
Thank you. um, I I often think about, people have asked me, why, or if you could sum it up of why you do this. And I think about the one child, the one, back then, why did you start? Today, why do I continue to do it? And it is for the one child, if not you sitting across from me, if not their child, my child, the one child that can see to tomorrow, that can make it past whatever they're going through, to know that they matter, that they are enough, and that they can then begin the skill building, the tool, begin to get the skills that they need, whatever those tools are, to heal. And it doesn't happen overnight.
Mhm.
Maybe you can talk about all the skills that you've been having to go through.
Mhm.
I don't know your journey, all that you had to pack in, and maybe it's too much to explain. But I know personally, children that have been going through this process, it's a lot.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest message, and I'll give you my memoir when you leave. Um, and it is like learning that you are enough and there is something on the other side of this darkness and this
Yeah,
mental pain. I never for me the I do the work that I do because I'm here for a reason and a purpose.
yeah,
And from a little girl who thought she would end up like her mother, who was schizophrenic and had a mental illness runs in the family. And it's magically skipped a generation with my sister, who's our executive director. And we're here to do the work. And that's the gift of a healthy mind. So I want to go back. Have you always been in a position where you wanted to give back? I heard that you were once an aerobics instructor.
Oh
We
my
got to
gosh.
talk a little bit about fitness on here.
Yes, and if my daughters if they were right here in this room, they would cringe because I'm like, "Well, back when I was an aerobics instructor," or back when, they're like, "Oh my gosh." Yes, and I love fitness, so I admire all that you've been able to do in your career around that.
Yeah.
I think that obviously fitness and mental health are very connected.
Mhm.
When you feel good, you when you exercise, and endorphins and all the things that you can do for your physical health really relate to your mental health. And yes, I was a aerobics instructor. I did wear the fanny pack. I did have
Yes.
the little headpiece. I was an aerobic director at the Q Sports Club. Shout out. They don't exist
I was like,
anymore.
I don't know if I've heard of Q.
No, it became 24-hour fitness, I
Oh,
think.
oh, I've heard of
Yeah.
that.
Okay. Thank you. I'm definitely aging myself, but yeah, I spent a lot of my career. My degree was in kinesiology, sports and fitness management. I did a lot of focus in exercise and aging. I was also in pharmaceutical sales. So, study of the body and the mind have always been very closely tied to my heart and to something that I'm very passionate about.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's so interesting because obviously I'm into fitness and you mentioned earlier like my journey into because I call this my decade of darkness until I overcame it and I was like,
Yeah.
what makes me happiest? It was moving my body. And so in my early 20s, I started working out again and
Yeah.
doing yoga and all the things. And that's really how I got into fitness and then wanting to share that message because that was my healing
Yeah.
period. To this day, I don't work out for the aesthetic of it. I work out because if I don't feel good.
Right.
And it's so important for those listening and like it's really hard. Sometimes people just don't want to get up and move, lift a weight, do this, do yoga, meditate, but it's the best medicine.
Yeah. And something that's very interesting, conversation I've actually been having with my parents is about being active.
Mhm.
And I think we can also talk about the conversation around, we can say working out, and sometimes that's a hurdle for people, individuals who maybe like my folks, they said, well, I had to stop working out because of X, Y, or Z. And so I start a conversation with them with, well, how have you been active today? Well, I walked the dog. That's amazing.
Mhm.
And then I start the conversation of, well, what else can you do that's active? And putting that into the conversation has helped at least with my mom, think about the ways that she can add maybe just a little bit more into her day that isn't well, I need to go to the gym. And so there's different ways to bring that into the conversation. Something that we do know is that the more active you are, the more you work out, the more you exercise your body, the more that you can prolong dementia, more of
Mhm.
these things that actually impact your your brain power, your mental health state as you age. And these are all things that we want to think about. Those are conversations I'm having with my parents, but also things I'm having with myself. Like
Yeah.
those are just ways that I want to be active in my life today. And I think about that having been active my whole life, it's a reason to get up and move my body,
Yeah.
not just for physical aesthetic or for any of the other things. Yes, I want to have healthy bones. I want, as I go through menopause, I want to have, I want to feel good. I want to do all these things. Breath is an important key to mental health. And the more that I'm walking and pumping my blood, the better I can think, the more I can feel relaxed. Just the minute I'm in a conversation and I breathe,
Mm-hmm.
the better I feel. Like if we just all together right now, if you're listening, if
I
we all just take a breath.
I encourage, if you're listening to this podcast, take a breath and walk. Maybe go outside and
You're just
walk and
gonna feel
listen.
better.
Yeah. It's very, I know, in the days that you don't want to, just say, I can do this for 10 minutes. And then that 10 minutes turns into 20 to 30 to 40.
Your shoulders
Yeah.
relax. If I'm in a conversation at a gala, at an event, and I'm talking with somebody and we're jamming and I go, and I take a deep breath, they do it with me. It's
Yeah.
pretty interesting.
It's funny. I sometimes just take a deep breath in like the middle of the kitchen or making dinner just to breathe. And my husband's
Yeah.
like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "Nothing. I'm just taking a breath." He's like, "Oh, I thought you were sighing." I was like, "No, just taking a breath."
Yeah. It immediately calms the
Yeah.
pace. It immediately resets. And I can think a little bit clearer, and it allows for all the functions are go.
Yeah. Yeah.
The record button's on, all the things are, systems are go.
Yeah. So, speaking of exercise, with the kindness campaign and schools, do you implement exercise in? Tell us about that.
Yes. So there are a lot of ways and partnerships that we like to
Yeah.
partake in. I've always believed that it's really important not to go at it alone.
Mhm.
And so if there is a partnership that is doing things that are really cool, I want to make sure that we can support them. There's one that the Give Joy, they are a very active group in other nonprofit spaces in schools, so we work with them. But for the Kindness Campaign, we have videos. Nephew Buddy, as I mentioned,
Mhm.
is we have a life-size mascot, and so he moves his body. It's very fun to watch him, and we have people who help lead these videos, get up and move. And World Kindness Day is coming up, and we provide a whole plethora of videos that all the schools will be able to have access to these videos. So the schools will partake in this is one part of World Kindness Day, which is being kind to your body. So there's lots of ways that you can be kind, and we can talk more about that whenever you want. But being kind is
Let's
is
talk
the
about it.
first way that I believe if you. I have this acronym of SEEK. SEEK is our pillars of the kindness campaign. The foundation is I'm enough, which is the foundation of everything we do, from our journals to any program we create. To seek kindness in your first in yourself and then others. Seek is self-image, emotional awareness, empathy, and community. And it's spelled with SEEC,
Yeah.
not K.
Yeah.
So we do it a little differently, but it helps us remember that we have to seek these things within ourselves. And it first starts with moving your body and
Yes.
breath work and all of those things that we sometimes take for granted. Because if you that whole analogy, which is very overused, but in a good way, which is when you're on an airplane, you have to first put on your mask and then you can help those around you. It is very, very true. We can't continue to fill up other people's cups and not fill up our own. And
Mhm.
I very much believe that.
100%. So I want to go back. We from fitness instructor, aerobics instructor. But
Yes,
you mentioned you were in pharma then.
I was. I was
That's
pharmaceutical sales for many years.
yeah.
I absolutely loved my job. I would go back to it in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
I now serve on a board for a hospital for Baylor Scott and White here locally, and they're actually uh, they're a very large system here. But yes, I love working in a hospital community. But
Mhm.
as a pharmaceutical sales rep, that gave me that little, you know, oomph that I needed to be able to study the body and be able to
Yeah.
serve
Yeah.
in that way.
I'm always so interested. I ask that because I'm always interested in seeing the pathway of careers and how,
Yeah.
so often people are in one role or career and think they can't move to something different. And you've made these, what I can tell, three transitions.
Yes.
And I think that's beautiful because as we flow through life, we should be able to flow through what our passions are, what our careers are, and make those shifts. But that can typically be very scary for someone to take a leap to something new. What do you have to say on that? Any tips?
Well, it's never too late.
Yeah.
And making career changes, making very scary changes is or just starting off on a entrepreneurial journey at
Hmm.
whatever point in your life is important. Following your passion is very important. One of the newest programs we just started at the Kindness Campaign is a kind leadership program for our high schoolers, which, as we know, is a very crucial age to start implementing a program to support our teen community
Hmm.
uh, because of, as we know, that there right now that is a high suicidal rate right
Hmm.
now for these teen communities, and they need to feel support. And with this program, we are talking exactly about this question. What does it mean to pursue a passion? What does it mean to not have one and find one? And how do you pursue this passion and then know that it's okay if it changes later? And these are the things that, you know, we as adults need to allow our young people, the future leaders of tomorrow, to see us say, I'm actually not sure if I like what I'm doing today, but that's okay. And tomorrow I'm going to pursue something and do it with all that I have. And if I fail, that's okay. I'm going to learn from it,
Hmm.
take these learnings, and then pour it into something new and different.
I think that's so important too, because as when we grew up, it's like, what do you want to be when you're old,
Yeah.
when you're an adult? I
Yeah.
want to be, I wanted to be a vet because I could play with animals all day. Not exactly what a vet
Right.
does, but, and I wanted to be an artist or I wanted to be a fitness instructor. And then, I think we're just trained from our generation that you just make your choice and that's it. And even I
Yeah.
see that even in my own community where if I want to step out from fitness and I want to do podcasting or mental health work or
Yeah.
speaking, it's like, no, you go back to fitness and stay there.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of pressure. So I think that you teaching this at a young age that it's okay to flow through life and make different choices and changes, whatever, as long as you just follow your dream and your dream may change.
And what you are touching on, which I think is so crucial and it's foundational, when I launched the kindness campaign, there were, first of all, launching something when you don't even realize you're launching it.
Hmm.
I was just putting this into my children's classroom,
Yeah.
Xerox copying a couple journals. And then all of a sudden, it kind of started taking off and people were wanting it. And at one point, after, the school in Austin, it was Austin AISD, said, we need, we would like to have this for 50 of our schools. I was like, I might need to be a nonprofit. I think the Kinkos might have a problem with me coming there and Xerox copying all of these. So, the journey of me starting a nonprofit and what I would consider learning on the job as being the leader,
Hmm.
really not having the foothold while, being a leader while having people come on board, serving a community and really kind of being in that space. I learned a lot. I failed a lot. And I had to retrace steps and do this. Now, 10 years later, what I would say is that all of these things helped me understand was that first moment talking with Austin Independent School District. And I said in the room, I created something that I felt in a container with my children was needed. Can you please tell me what you need, what you're seeing in the school system is needed. And they said 1 in 3 children, 1 in 4 students come in the school system having experienced trauma by the age of 3.
Mm.
And that is where I had to really see what was needed. They also said that their teen community didn't have tools.
Mm-hmm.
And that was where I said, I'm going to come in to pre-K and kinder, and I'm going to create something for you. And that's where I got to work. I've been building that foundation ever since. And for our school system to have skill building and teach a language that is the foundation for students to have the language so that when they get to high school, so that when they come out, that they can feel confident saying, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I'm not sure I have my passion all together,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm confident in who I am, that
Mm-hmm.
I can continue to make those decisions and know that I am worthy, that my self-worth is intact, and that I have the verbal communication that I can go through these transitions and I can be okay. Because through failure, I'm okay. It doesn't mean I'm a failure. And there's some differences that we have to explain to our children so that they can make that journey and not crumble in the process. And
Yeah.
that's the foundation that's crucial. And I feel that without that language, without them seeing, and I'm doing a wheel here, and I apologize because that's the wheel that we have, and the language and how we're teaching it, it's a true language that kids have to get. With that language, with the skill building that we're teaching them, that I believe is this language that we have to, be able to have them absorb. I'm angry. Well, what's under that layer? Maybe it's sadness. Maybe it's that they have disappointment. All these things, they have to be able to verbalize it, get through it, and then say, yes, I have anger too. Great. And that's all okay.
That is so beautiful. Like what you're doing, I can imagine how many children needed that. And those children who aren't with us anymore needed this education and to
Mhm.
not feel alone and to be able to put a name to a feeling and be like, and know
Yeah.
that you're supposed to have these feelings.
Yes.
You can, you're supposed to have anger because then
Mm.
you know joy. You're supposed to have sadness because then you know happiness.
Yes.
And understanding that the quote unquote bad, I don't want to call them bad feelings, but the
Yeah.
sad, the, not so chipper feelings are okay. And, we learn as adults, if my husband's like, mental health check-in, how you doing today?
That's
I know,
amazing.
yeah, it's become very important. It's like mental health check-in today. Where are you
Yeah.
at? I'm stressed, but I'm good.
Yeah.
I know where my stress is coming from. I know what I need to do. Today I'm anxious, but I can give anxiety a name. I know what's causing it. I know I'm safe.
Yeah.
And so what you're teaching is just beautiful and so needed. So how many students are you currently touching?
So there is a wide range because our tools, I'll talk specifically to World Kindness Day.
Yeah.
We maxed out
Mhm.
and we have people who are still signing up right now, but with the tools that we have already boxed up and sent out enough tools to serve 60,000 individuals for World Kindness Day, which is November 13th.
Mhm.
And it's going into 112 schools nationwide from California to Canada. So I'm
Wow.
very excited about this because this is from elementary to adults. They will have the access to this, which is for everything from our plushie doll to our new book to the nephew buddy finds his superpower to a whole we have a curriculum that they can tap into, to stickers. There's so much, the dance parties I was talking about,
Mhm.
puppet shows, you name it, we gift it to all the schools.
So then if the school gets it, or does the teacher
Yes.
get it?
Yes.
And then the teacher does the curriculum. It's all
Yes.
in there.
Yes.
Is it hard to get into schools? Because I was on the board of NAMI
Yeah.
and we did a program where we would go speak into junior high and high
Yeah.
schools. But it was really hard. You had to get permission to come into those classrooms and teach the curriculum. So what's the process like with this?
It has been It's an interesting process. The schools reach out. We have a sign up period, and that's what I'm speaking to. They
Mhm.
sign up every year. We open up signups right when school launches in August. And then when it's full, it's full.
Yeah.
And right now we have schools signing up right now for our tools for next year.
So a year
A
from
year from
this
now,
point,
they're
yeah.
already signing up for our tools because they
Oh,
didn't get into the sign up for this year. We don't go into the school for this. They sign up, we box up and
mm.
ship them the tools.
Yeah.
Now, we also have requests. So during November, during World Kindness Week, I have special requests for schools. Certain schools they've requested where we are able with sponsorships to come on site, where we will bring our big mascot. I will come on site and do a book reading, and we will celebrate with schools around Austin to bring in the World Kindness Day. But we have lots of opportunity. To answer the question, is it hard to get into schools? Yes, it always has been. Do we get a lot of requests, and have we been in a lot of schools? Absolutely. Right now, we have several on-site programs we do. We have our most requested tool, which is our Magic Mirror, which has been around for 10 years. It is a physical mirror where we come on site and we will have a student or an individual stand in front of this two-way mirror, and we ask the individual one question: how do you feel when you look in the mirror? And take that individual on a journey. And the goal is that that individual walks away feeling uplifted and being seen for who they are, and really feeling empowered. Most times that experience, we get lots of feedback
Yeah.
and positive feedback. And oftentimes we are told things that if we're on site in a school where we can notify counselors of
Mhm.
things maybe going on at a deeper level, if we are in a community event, parents come to us and let us know that changes are happening in the home. It's a beautiful device, and it is something that I'm so proud to have been a part of in my life.
Yeah. I mean, that's even a good tool for us as adults. I think they're
It's magical.
yeah.
That's why it's the magic mirror.
Yeah. So
Uh, yeah.
if you're at home and you want to do this exercise as an adult, what would you look in the mirror and ask yourself, what could you do right now?
Yeah. I think one of the biggest things that you can also do, you can look in your mirror and just start changing. Actually, I'm going to take that back, because I think to ask someone to change something is really hard. Is
Mhm.
start with a mantra. It can be anything. It can be very simple. You can start with I love myself,
Mhm.
or I love something, fill in the blank about yourself. And just start very simple. Oftentimes I'll ask children when they're brushing their teeth. So if they visited our mirror, I'll be on the other side and they'll go to the mirror and they'll learn something fantastic about themselves. And they'll walk away with the biggest smile. And I'll say, hey, whatever you heard today, it's yours to keep. Now, what I want you to do is add on to it. So when you're brushing your teeth, I want you to think about something awesome about yourself. It can be that you're brave, that you're smart, that you love yourself. And every time you brush your teeth, I want you to repeat what you heard at the mirror and then repeat that. And they
Mhm.
light up. And I was like, don't forget. And it's every day. And the good news is there's a lot of neuroscience coming out about how we can change our brain activity. And
Mhm.
the more positivity, whether it's on social media or like just what you're putting in your brain, whatever you
Mhm.
see, whatever you are thinking about, you start to believe. And so if you're like, I'm smart or I love myself,
Mhm.
those things begin to become part of your DNA, begin to be something that you can love.
Well, that's the thing about your thoughts
Yeah.
and trying, we're talking positive self-talk versus negative, and you will start to believe
Yeah.
what you tell yourself.
Yeah.
So, I think with the brushing the teeth, or maybe it's I don't know, something that you do daily, it's the reminder of like, oh, this is when I positive
Yeah.
self-talk myself, because otherwise we can just get so caught in our minds
Yeah.
and listening to these lies that we're telling ourselves.
Yeah.
And so finding a moment that triggers you to be like, oh yeah, this is when I say, I am beautiful. I am where I need to be.
Now, one thing I do want to say for anyone listening I've worked with the mirror for a very long time. And anyone who doesn't want to look in a mirror and hasn't for a very, very
Mhm.
long time, start with just that conversation with yourself. And you don't have to look in the mirror. It can be laying in your bed when you wake up. You can the minute you wake up, start a conversation with yourself that the minute you wake up, your alarm goes off, and all you have to do is say, I love myself. That begins a transition of conversation. Mirror work is hard, and I know that because I've worked with the mirror for 10 years. I understand that that's a process. And for if anyone is listening that has suicide ideation or who has been through that or who is suffering, I know that's a process to have that conversation with yourself, and it's hard. So if that is a thought that's really hard to say, start writing it down in a journal.
Yeah. I think I want to say here with that thought, I just want to point out again with the big silence and our foundation and what we provide therapy for all. So if you're listening and you do have suicidal ideation or you need to talk to somebody, just go to our website and sign up for the
Yeah.
Therapy for All program, and we got you.
Yeah.
So
I think it's important. I also am a big believer in gratitude.
mhm.
We have our journals, we have I am enough journals and things that can help really walk people through just the unpacking, whether it's your name, whether it's like just those conversations you have with yourself that seem very simple. You hear your name every day and you're like, oh, and you don't even understand the association you might even have with it.
Yeah.
So we unpack some of that. My name being Andra. I've had a big journey with that.
Really?
I answered to all names: Amber, Andrea, Sandra. I don't even know. I answered a hey girl, and so it's been a funny thing. And I think that's why we put that in there in the beginning. I've never been a part of a club. And so I kind of just stand out on my own. And then there's the, Michelle group. I always want to be Michelle. I'm like, can I just be Michelle? Because there's a lot of them. So there's a lot of fun things to do with, self-image
Mhm.
and go to our website, and find out if you want to, grab a journal and do something like that. There's lots of ways to connect with yourself on a deeper level for our adults out there. Our kids, we've got you. The kids are, we've got a lot of tools for schools and my new book with, and Nuffy and
And Nuffy
yeah,
Buddy?
finding
Yeah.
his superpowers. I mean, it's so fun to talk about it in that way, especially with our moms and dads out there. It's a great way to talk about emotional health.
Yeah. I think a Nuffy Buddy is good for adults too.
Oh, yes, they have a great time. I packed you some antennas.
Oh,
Everybody calls them ears, but they're actually antennas. And antennas are a great way we came up with a game for it. A Nuffy Buddy is blue and round and is adopted. And Mr. and Mrs. Buddy went on a journey with a Nuffy Buddy so that um, you know, the story is really about him feeling like he doesn't belong and like he is, finding himself. But what he finds out is that all of the things that he thought were so different about him are the things that make him unique.
I love
And
that.
his superpower is in his antenna. And he can really tap into his superpowers, which are his understanding his emotions. And then he goes on to help other children tap into their emotions. And then they make their antennas to be just like him. So what he thought was made him different is really what makes him special. And that's the story.
I love that. Number one, we're recording this on Halloween, and as I told you before, I don't have any plans, but maybe I'll just wear my antennas tonight around the house. Number two, so you have this massive creative side to you.
Yes.
And so you must enjoy like being able to use that in the work that you do as well. So what is that process like?
It is so fun. Although, if you ask one of my teammates, I won't say her name, but I'm sure when she listens, she'll be like, Andra, my team has had to tell me to just Like, let's stop for a minute, and we've got enough.
Hmm.
You are enough, and we have enough.
Yeah.
But yes, I love to create.
Yeah.
So I think that was just so much fun. My mom was a school teacher growing up. She was my kindergarten teacher.
Oh, cute.
And I think I get a lot of that from her. My dad is an entrepreneur.
Mhm.
And so I think those two had a baby and that became me.
Yeah.
And I just really enjoy that creative process. I like doing it for other people. Someone will, start talking to me about a marketing project and I dive right in and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, wait, I don't think you asked me. But yes, so the part about the kindness campaign that I love the most is that we're pretty nimble. We are art infused emotional health.
I love it.
I came up with that because I like the idea of being able to take what we do and meet students, teachers where they are. And if we don't have it, we'll create it.
Mhm.
And so we have a lot of coloring pages, a lot of tools that are somewhat different. I think if it's already out there, then whoever has it should already have it. We
Yeah.
should do something different. So that's why we have Kind Music, which is a art program, a music program where kids can create songs and act like a musician and learn how to write songs. And then we hire musicians and we actually create these songs and put it out on Spotify.
Oh my gosh, this is
So
amazing.
schools get to have their own theme song. So I mean, if I was in school, I would be down for that.
Yeah.
We're actually doing that at a school coming up. We, with the Big Brothers Big Sisters
Mhm.
organization, created an EP for them. We one time went on a title. We work with a lot of Title I schools. We had a school. We went on campus, and they were like, "There's this one student, and he loves to sing." I was like, "Well, let's hear him." And we put him in the studio and we had him sing the song. And so I just think that there are no boundaries when it comes to emotional health. And if you can hear a student and see them, put them in the driver's seat, let them lead the way, and we will find really how to solve this crisis we're in for emotional health. We will be able to see where we need to be for years to come in creating spaces that really are the solution to the problem that we have right now.
I love the music part, the art. And so now it makes sense that your last gala, Kimberly Vanderbeek's daughter sang.
Yes. Oh, wasn't she so great?
She was great.
I,
Adorable.
I also think letting a child thrive,
Mhm.
putting if a child's ready, uh, letting them stand in their power.
Yeah.
And also, in that process, wanted James to know
Mhm.
that we were going to be right there with him and her supporting. So we had a lot of conversations to
Yeah.
say, we're the kindness campaign and we won't let an environment fail her. Like
Yeah.
we want her to feel supported. We want, if your child's coming here, just like we do with our kind leadership program, we have a student who has come to us over and over again and she's like, I climbed Kilimanjaro. I'm like, okay. And she's like, and now I want to create backpacks to solve a problem I saw over there, and I think it's a global solution for all of these people. I'm like, great. She's like, I need to meet with spinal surgeons.
You're like,
Okay.
okay.
So I just keep saying yes to her and helping her go down a path. I had another child say, I want to be a solution for anxiety in schools through slime.
Okay.
Great. I think that students, they see the solution,
Mhm.
and I also want students to hear that it doesn't have to be perfect.
Mhm.
And that is where we will have our students really be able to step out if they know that they're supported by a caring adult.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be their parent, right? Because their parents are always going to be there. Not every parent, but whoever their adult is in their life, they need someone to stand by them. And in there, I was thinking of the Vanderbeeks. They were right there. They had their whole family.
The whole thing.
It was amazing. But for some individuals, but for those who don't, we want to be there for them in some way to be empowering to them so they can step out on that platform. And if they fail, we want to be right there to help them learn from it, pivot, do the things they need to do, because there's so much energy in that. They're going to have way better solutions than us.
Yeah.
They're going to know so much more. I'm not cool. I tell my kids all the
You
time,
look
like,
pretty cool.
no,
You showed up
I
with
did put a
like your
braid in my
braid in your
hair.
hair, your jewelry,
Now,
your
my daughter may
boots.
have different things about this. Like right now, when I'm thinking about who should be on your podcast, it's my teen daughter who's talking about teen dating and solutions for building a community. I'm like, she's way cool. She's on TikTok and does all the
I would love
things.
to have her on
She should
because
be on here. You know, she should be the one talking about how to build a community that answers these problems. And we need to put them in the driver's seat. And that's why I think the future of the kindness campaign is kind leadership. It is giving these kids platforms, building their resumes at this age, and doing these things. Yes, it's the foundation of letting them have the skills before they get there.
I
But
would love to have your daughter on because there's a lot of parents listening, and then they could listen to the podcast together and just
yeah,
reach more people.
right. I
Yeah.
learn from them every day. And
Yeah.
I think the more we really sit back and say, how do yes, I am an adult and I'm in charge,
Mhm.
because we can't ever lose that.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's difficult. But saying, I want to learn from you and I want you to really have a voice here.
Mhm.
I think that's important.
Yeah. Can we talk about these bracelets?
I would love to. This is something, I hate bringing this up, but during the year 2020,
2020?
I'm just
We
going to
all
say it
know
like
what
that.
2020 was.
I'm just going to say it like that. I had a lot of pivoting that happened
Mhm.
and a lot of soul searching of how to keep our organization thriving.
Mhm.
And during that time, this was something that really came out of a real hardship for the kindness campaign and how to build a connective. One of our major partners is the National Charity League, and they're a huge mom-daughter volunteer organization. And we created this fun volunteer program with bracelets where we encourage anyone can do this. Actually, a lot of organizations are doing this for us, like Generation Serve and some other nonprofits. But this is a major one. They nationally make these and then they ship them to us all over. And I will hand these to you because there's so many fun. Oh, I think
All
we
right.
did it.
So if you can't see this, you have a plastic baggie
I have
full
a
of
plastic bag. These were shipped to us. It says the kindness campaign. And then of course, they put my
Aw.
apartment number, but we won't put that on there. But
the hope. Yeah.
the idea is they work through together thinking of, they make the bracelet, they can make one for themselves, and then they can make one to gift to another child or someone else. We bring these to all of our community events. We have a major partnership right now, or we are the beneficiary of the Cap 10K, which is a number one race, 10K race nationally in Austin that's coming up at the end of April. That race, we're going to give out so many of these. I think 50,000. I don't even know how many people sign up, but so many people come and run that race. So we need lots more bracelets. But the goal is that when you do these, that you make them with kind messages. And we give you suggestions, but they get so creative and these look professionally done.
They're
I think
so you have
I
is
have
that in your
I have
stack?
a stack. I have some of my faves, but
I
these
love
are you have to buy these and they're like $20 or something.
Yeah.
We give these out. We
These are
give these out.
So they say blessed, you are enough, best, happy. These are so cute.
They're high quality and
sunshine.
they're so adorable and it's fun. It's a great way. One of the gifts of this project is you can sit there and you can have an open dialogue about kindness. You can make it a project with any organization. One of our kind leaders has started a TKC club at her high school. So fun. And they're going to make this one of their projects. And I just love it. I think, obviously Taylor Swift made this a thing.
But you started it.
We've been doing it, and I don't know who did it first. I'm sure Taylor. But it's been fun, and we've been doing it for a while. And not all of them are perfect. And that's okay. And that's the beauty of doing this is that, some of them I have been on site and made them and just with some young people and we do them together and we work so hard and then the whole bracelet falls apart.
And
But
that's okay.
there's a lesson in that, sometimes we work real hard to build things and then we talk about like what it means to have patience and to start over because life sometimes is that way that we work really hard. And I would say during 2020, I sat on my floor of my bedroom and I cried and I said, do I have it in me to keep going?
Yeah. How did you reach the kids in 2020?
Well, there was this project
Yeah.
and we had our Enoughy Buddy antenna kit making project, which is now
Oh, you've got that too.
but wait, Vanna has more. We made these. These are for, I know many of you, I'm sorry, this is not a visual for everyone to see, but we did a pipe cleaner and little, I don't know what else to call them, but little bollies or like little puff balls
Yeah.
on the end to emulate Enoughy Buddy's antennas. They were an at-home project that we basically we had a studio or where we were being housed. We're now all virtual, but at the time we had a place where we housed the kindness campaign.
Yeah.
And they're on a headband. They came in from all over the nation. We almost couldn't open our front door.
Yeah.
They were so popular. Now we make them, and I was going to show you because this is what we shipped to all the schools this year.
Yeah.
And we had them made because they ended up being, we had such a demand. This is one of the main things that go into schools. If you QR code that now, it shows you how to make these. And so all the classrooms will make these for World Kindness Day. The teacher gets her teacher headband that's already made.
Yeah.
And then the classroom, they all get their own personal headband. So that was one of the ways that we connected our communities. I will say during that time, it was very hard to communicate with schools.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Rightfully so. They had a lot of transitions happening. We were doing story times and things of that nature, and we converted every single piece of curriculum to online. It was a process.
Yeah.
And then I even created a metaverse.
Of course.
I did a lot of digital things, and I created an app called Kind Gym, which right now I would consider it an MVP.
Mhm.
Right now, it is a part of our high school, our Kind Leadership curriculum. I still think it's cool. I was in a closet, reading and trying to do it as cost effective as possible. I'd like to innovate on that now, thanks to AI, and have an AI voice read it, because as much as I'd like to think my voice is amazing, I think it would be way cooler to have like a teen voice on it.
Mhm.
But, we learned a lot. I dug in and I did my best during that time to figure out where we would be. What I've learned in that process is a lot of the things I already had
Yeah.
was what people wanted right after we came out. And
Yeah.
so we business as usual when we came back.
Yeah. I love it. Okay. So are you doing another gala in April?
I am.
You are.
So before we get there, we're doing World Kindness Day. We're doing book launches.
Right.
World Kindness Day, November 13th is what I consider Kindness Super Bowl. And so we've got tons of things happening locally and book launches at Book People, which I'm so proud about. So very happy to come on site, do book readings and everything for any school. We'll be busy leading up to that. And then, yes, the Kindness Campaign will do a gala and a community day, which is what we love to do, is be in the community. That will be April. The gala is April 10th, and 12th is our community day,
And that's here in Austin.
all in Austin.
So we'll put I know you're probably like, how do I get you in my school? How do I get involved in this? How do I
Yes.
come to this event? So we'll put everything in the show notes.
Yeah.
And yeah, keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
10 years strong. That's a lot
Thank
of
you.
really good hard work.
Thank you. We're here to partner, serve. At the end of the day, we just want to make sure people feel loved and feel like they belong and are enough.
All right, Andra, thanks for coming out to chat.
Oh, my pleasure.
The big silence. The big silence.